Hi guys, good morning. I got a Generac GP7500E. Was not making power. It's the same one that I got free from my customer the other day, but this one really doesn't have many hours on it at all. The hour meter doesn't show anything. Now a lot of people, what they'll do if it's not making power, they reflash the brushes, okay? And there's two ways you can do that. Some people suggest that you plug in a drill into the socket, you turn the drill motor backwards by hand real quick with the chuck, and sometimes it'll induce enough magnetism into the brushes to get it to fire. Well, I did some tests on this. That didn't work. I did a few tests and I knew the automatic voltage regulator was bad. So basically you take two screws out of there. Very simple. The automatic voltage regulator. It's basically bolted in there with two 7mm hex screws. You have one plug and you have two terminals. The positive terminal always has a plus sign on it. It's usually a red wire, could be a blue wire. On the brushes, usually left brush is always positive, right brush is always negative. So I put that back on. I knew it was bad because I did test it, that there were some tests to do, and I did test it, it did test bad. So I changed that. So I put that in and I said, okay, let me start it up. So I started it up and still no voltage. I said, wait a minute. I said, I did everything I was supposed to do. What's going on? So I said, you know what? Let me try something different. What I used to do in the past, instead of just using the drill trick into the outlet, I took a couple of jumper wires I had. I put the jumper wires into the outlet and I touched the positive lead to the battery, the 12-volt battery on the generator, and I grounded out the negative lead real quick. The generator, while running, the generator went real quick for a second. I go, aha! So I pulled out those two wires. Bingo! Now it's charging. So let me start it up for you. I've got this great, it's called a kill-A watt meter. It tells you voltage, amperage, wattage, and frequency. And what's great is when you adjust a generator, you adjust it for the frequency, the 60 hertz. If you adjust it to 3600 RPM, it may not be 3600, it may not be 60 hertz. You don't want your frequency to go below 60 hertz because then you could damage equipment like electronics and all that. So better off using a meter like this where you can see the frequency. All right, let me start it up. Let's see what's going on. So as you can see, reflashing it with the battery with a real 12 volts, that worked. So guys, all the videos out there where you see people using drill motors to reflash your brushes may not work. The reason I know it wasn't working in this case is I would turn the drill backwards and it would go forward maybe just like a quarter turn. Once I hooked a real 12 volts into the outlet, it flashed them and it did it right. Now remember, on an outlet, 110, oh, where am I? Here we go. The small terminal on the right there is always the hot terminal. The big one is always the common or neutral. So when you put your jumpers on to flash it, use the right one, the small one, to the 12 volt positive, the left one the negative. All you have to do is touch it real quick and you'll hear the engine RPM go vroom, because it's, you know, putting it out. So just a tip for you guys, if you tried flashing with a drill and it doesn't work, then just try putting 12 volts to it. I saw it somewhere in some older videos where the guy was using a 12 volt battery to do it, and then I figured the drill's easier, but I said, you know what, this has a 12 volt battery on it, let me try it. And it did work. So just a tip for you guys. If you have the meter, I'll put a link to it. It's best to know what your frequency is. That's how I tune them. And reflash the brushes and it'll get you going. All right guys, that's it for now. We will talk to you guys soon. See ya, bye-bye.